Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today in our Career B web series. During this presentation, all participants' audio will be muted except at the end for the question and answer portion. I'd like to thank Dirk Charlie for his time and dedication to this project and for sharing his expertise with us. During the following experiences, recently retired from the U.S. Department of Agriculture Forest Service with 37 years of experience and served the Tribal Relations Program Specialist for the Sierra and Sequoia National Forest from 2007 to December 30th, 2016. Performed as a Public Affairs Officer for the Sierra National Forest from January 2014 to 2015, and has 11 years of experience as a Human Resource Specialist with the U.S. Forest Service, where he had the responsibility for coordination and implementation for the full range of federal HR programs for the Sierra National Forest, as an Employee Relation and Labor Relations Specialist for the Pacific Southwest Region 5. He has 4 years as a Sierra National Forest Equal Employment Manager or Forest Civil Rights Officer. He has 13 years experience as a wildland firefighter, served in a supervisory role as a former Horseshoe Meadow hotshot crew foreman or engine operator, and frequently performed lead duties in helicopter support operations, otherwise known as HeliTAC. He is currently a tribal council member at large for the Dunlap Band of Mono Indians, an unacknowledged tribe located east of Fresno, California. Former business owner and operator of a company called Common Ground, an Italian deli coffee shop located in Weedley, California, from July 1995 to 1998. The business featured espresso coffee drinks, sold coffee beans by the pound, served up a wide variety of specialty drinks such as smoothies, shaved ice mochas, and Italian sodas, served specialty sandwiches, soups, and pasta dishes, a full-scale restaurant, and in addition, the company operated a concession stand cart at Indian powwows and craft fairs, provided catering services at weddings, birthday parties, open house events, and office parties. He's also served 4 years as an executive director for the Dunlap Band of Mono Indians Historical Preservation Society, a nonprofit organization, gained valuable grant administration expertise, board of directors experience, and organizational and supervisory skills. He has served honorably for 4 years in the U.S. Navy, Vietnam veteran, 1975 to 1979, and is a member of the Big Sandy Rancheria of Mono Indians, Color Guard veterans of foreign wars. Fresno, married to Mary Teresa, and has 2 daughters, Daniela and Stefania. Hi, Dirk.
Oh, hey, thanks a lot, Sarah. Good afternoon, everybody. It's my honor to present information on this portion of the CIMC training. And today I'll be talking about my latest work experience as a tribal relations specialist, a liaison. I reached a job, it was excellent, but I started a new role in life, and I'm really having a good time now. But I'm very, very busy in Indian country and work helping other people. My breadth of experience and knowledge and skills, I hope, will benefit you all. And I hope it's going to be a really nice learning experience for you. I'm on the agenda, and I'm going to cover is dealing with fast facts about being a tribal relations specialist, what the outlook is like, qualifications, education needed, day in the life of a tribal relations specialist, just an example, advantages and disadvantages of such a job, and what you can do now to prepare, and helpful resources that help me and I utilize to help my fellow employees and job applicants. This particular job, I had an associate's degree in liberal studies, and was qualified for this job by having a breadth of experience in supervisory administrative roles such as, working in fire management, equal opportunity, as a human resources specialist, and to demonstrate additional qualifying experience to my involvement and performance as a tribal council member at large, and as a executive director and a business ownership background. If you have a bachelor's or master's degree in business, math, social science, anthropology, archaeology. That'd be helpful also. The people that I dealt with, a lot of the subject matter experts had of these types of degrees, and the managers and decision makers that I'd be dealing with at the agency, interagency level, and leadership level, it helped to have that extra education and that knowledge about what they were referring to and the job needs to have performed and at what level and skill. Salary range was for the S11 level was $77,000 per year, and the median salary was that was it for the level of job delivery. I served on 2 forests, the Sierra and Sequoia National Forests. I was based out of Clovis, California. But a government vehicle, a laptop, a cell phone, an iPad, and a laptop will travel. Would have 4-wheel drive Jeep. Really difference when it came out to site visits with the tribal community and service and other agency, federal and state content I had when we reviewed and site visits to the project areas. The number of jobs available, position throughout the United States, staffed at different levels within the USD Forest Service. I would type a position advertised once or twice a year on different forests and regions throughout the United States. The Sierra National Forest is doing reach to replace my job. So you have an interest in this type of job. At the end of my presentation, a web page information for you to contact them and let them know that you're interested in this type of job or want to know more information about it. Annual job growth rate, like I said, not high enough. I wish a lot more in Indian country. Job per year, estimate, maybe 2 to 3 nationwide, but most to figure out ways to make them ace their opportunities. Job. This industry and career going to be needed due to the federal laws, rules, regulations, policies, and number of projects on or situations on federal lands that impact tribal homelands that would need to would require the agency to contact and collaborate within Indian country. Myself, to stay in contact with the Forest Service and at least direct them to the right places, which tribes to contact, which departments, work with the subject matter experts about things that Indian people are interested in. So I see this job growing. I have been given input to the workforce managers to make sure that this type of position will be available and people can be an opportunity to participate and to compete for it. Are there jobs in this industry that will go faster than others? None that I know of at this time. Maybe I need to have more tribal public affairs officer type positions or established liaison positions. When I get tribal established, meaning that times in my career, I was talking to a tribal public affairs officer or a tribal liaison, specifically representing a Indian tribe. Though I would meet my peer out on the fire line, or I'd meet them at the project work site or at their office, and we'd exchange information on a one-to-one basis, and it would be a big compliment if Indians had such a position established. Not all do, some do, but not all. Explanations that has caused this increased job growth, they need to stay engaged with tribes. It's good business. There are groups, organizations, interested individuals, the wide range of federal, state, and local government agencies. I work with a lot of emergency services. It's always good to have a contact or somebody that you know face to face, because agencies change, tribes change through elections, that happens. That's just hard, but it's something that can be good also. With changes in staff, and new initiatives, and emergencies, you got to have that connection, and that's that type of role and responsibility this job occupies. And there'd be an increased job growth if Indian country works together with the federal, state, and local government agencies. This type of position expanding. For instance, education need, I have associate's, a science degree or equivalent, and I got a lot more college credits by attending the service provider training. We got a lot of credits out of it. No known certification is needed for this type of job. It says you got to drive. You got to be able to drive if you want to be out there and being fully effective. What programs or degrees are available for this career? At this time, the agency provided U.S. Forest Service Tribal Relations Program training, and this consisted of tribal law and any pertinent land management and environmental preservation laws. If you knowledge and that skill and experience, that would be very helpful as you're going to be working with heritage resources, forest engineers, management staff, ecosystem, and wildlife biologists. And I really had a range of friends and associates I dealt with, but it has to have that type of positive education to take to complete the training. And it was a lifelong learning effort to the type of this as a liaison, work with tribes and federal, state, and local government entities. It always requires daily briefings and relationship buildings, and it's that I try myself to their websites. I'd go to their office. I would look at their bulletin boards. I would read their paraphernalia. I would get whatever meeting results and notes came out. I went to a lot of meetings, and that's where I got a lot of my training. Some of the sources that are available for interested job seekers, I've listed them, and I have established web links on the last slide, okay? We'll go into that later. Skills. Required great communication skills, verbal and written. In my background, at an Italian coffee shop, I was a land firefighter, supervisory type. I also dealt with attorneys. I held a deal with legal representatives. I dealt with elected officials, emergency. So you come across in a confident and competent manner in this job. And as a civil servant, customer service extraordinary attitude would be extremely helpful and comfortable in working with upper, mid, and lower level staff members. It's a skill that would benefit the applicant. I never felt intimidated by bosses. I never felt intimidated by common or senators or mayors, forest supervisors, chief of the Forest Service. I looked at them as somebody that they needed me. I need them. And I try to point across in a very effective, tact and diplomatic manner. And that's where, work with Indian tribes and everything. Come across yourself and be very respectful and practice cultural sensitivity, but know who you're dealing with. You can't be shy or bashful in this job. It requires an extrovert, and somebody who isn't, like I said, arrogant or cocky. That's not going to get you anywhere. Being friendly, polite, and resourceful asset is a must. So again, be tactful and diplomatic. Have a good sense of timing if you can. In this job, it was my job to be able to analyze and interpret complex concepts, such as new laws, rules, regulations, policies, or executive orders, and ensure that I get my best to gain a good understanding of it, because it was my job to give an executive briefing to upper level management and tribal leaders and representatives, or a member of the public that came to my office. And again, try my best to see that I walked away with a fairly good understanding, or I made sure that they knew somebody that had the expert, they were subject matter expertise. I would make sure I connected them. I practice effective time management And I was a 24/7 kind of guy because I dealt with emergency services. I didn't mind getting woke up in the middle of the night. I also was mindful of other people's time, and I kept a planner. I took courses for time management and management. In my role, I utilized computers all the time, and when it comes to social media, I had a pretty effective handle on that. When you do this job, is you can find yourself in a troubleshooter type of role. So conduct problem solving and take the initiative to be part of the problem solving team. Be willing to volunteer to take on the tough jobs. It goes a long ways. Practice problem solving techniques, nursing and resources that I took and to be part of the solution, and be confident in your speaking and delivery, not cocky or arrogant. How you say things matters a lot. And most of the times, if you show up with a small, but you're also there exhibiting confidence and you're here to help in a good way and contribute, and people will recognize that with you. Again, having networks matters a lot. Go to meetings. That's one thing to do as a liaison. Your job is to go to meetings, take business cards, make sure that people know you, and be able to stand in and speak on behalf of the bosses if you have to. Okay, and some bosses that if you want me to go act for you, what top 3 things you want me to say for you? To be quoted in television or on the radio or in the newspapers, and I wanted to be even consistent. And I had to assemble and execute database management. I learned about and utilized good database management processes. Computer literate in this type of job to Microsoft Word, Access, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. And take the steps to familiarize yourself and acquire the necessary training, obviously process and systems. A lot of those programs I just mentioned, you have to use them. I use them almost daily. But I learned other, such as SharePoint, where I had to post information to the project record on our forest plan revision process. I'm not going too fast for you, everybody. Sarah?
No, you're
fine.
It's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For conflict resolution and mediation, I had to do that every year, 5 or 6 times a year. We always take time to recover. And the thing that I would ask that in this job, working with Indian country, is become familiar with cultural norms and practices prior to meetings. So some patience and understanding when dealing with tribes and organizations and agencies. Part of what I would tell people is scout it out. Go and look, go and see, go meet, go shake hands. Go time yourself. How long does it take to get from point A to point B? Think about people that have special needs. Be respectful, be inclusive. Provide for meeting management and facilitation. I did a lot of that. That was probably one of the primary roles. And so I would be nice. I try to be organized, practice good note-taking skills. I know how to effectively delegate and transfer knowledge to others. Arrived at an emergency or at a special meeting or a tribal forum, I had packages of information ready to go. I'd want people to walk away with something in writing, something they could utilize to their tribal councils, a briefing, or their business or organization. You also want to perform as a driver. That's one thing that, for the agency I worked with, our motto was safety first. I always practice good defensive driving techniques, but I brought members of the public up to the site visit or at the meeting. I would scout it out. I would drive first. I would make sure that there was no road blockage or any special hazards, where we're going to park the bus, who's going to carpool with who. That was very important. And it also happened at various meetings and training sessions that I'd be the one of the presenters. I would take the time to scout it out, try everything out, make sure that electricity works, you got proper communications, you got enough outs for everybody. That's up to you, and the agency will allow you time to do that. That's one thing that my bosses all told me was that they didn't tell me how to do the job. They just gave the tools and said, go for it. And I learned a lot from a lot of role models, and I watched them. But I also temptation to drive 130 miles, got there on time, the area, no weather, find places to eat, where we might have to, if we had to do an evacuation, where the place that we're going to medevac them, what are the frequency to contact dispatchers, what are the phone numbers of the people that I'm going to be dealing with, so I can tell them in case some changes come up. You have to be flexible and ready to adapt to change. So it's always good leadership traits. You don't have to get all flustered and mad or anything. Just roll with the punches. And one thing that I would highly recommend is know what the bosses know, or gain a good understanding of their top priorities, and ready to express them on behalf of the organization. And like I said, you can't be shy. A person I've always met, I want to understand and know, who are they? What business card? Where are they in the chain of command? What tribal council position do they occupy? A tribal department or a staff member? Who's the decision maker? The decision makers are the ones who have fiduciary responsibilities. You know what I mean? As far as like they have the ability to spend money. And that's the decision maker. Okay. Next, what does a tribal relations specialist do? It's a full day. I'm as a point of contact. So, my business card, my cell phone, my email, and I would tell them that I'm a 24/7 kind of guy. I'm a conduit of information. If I know something, I would give them a contact to somebody that I did know who would know it the best. Remember, I'm not there, but listen, that I'm given the information to, I put them in contact with somebody who is there. That's how I handle a lot of interviews from television, newspapers, radios, when it came to emergencies or force projects and activities. And I read information to the tribe as a neutral and unbiased ambassador for the Forest Service, but I would also relay the information from the tribe to the agency. So be accurate. Take notes. Don't trust your memory. I mean, I wrote things down, and I always asked other agents about who needs to know this. What's their deadline? Who will be involved? And can I can contact you? You have some information that that I need. Changes happen. So, just like I said, be flexible. I would announce to the audience, whether it be at a meeting, a training, or a presentation, about who I am, my role and responsibility. I don't take a position on any issue or concern. I'm not a decision maker. And you're the guy setting up all the meetings, and that would be my main focus. And I would be there to ensure all the proper introductions were done, as far as pronounce the name correctly, get the title correct, who they're here, they're what they're interested in, and I would make sure that the meeting goes by smoothly. But my job also was to capture key points made within the meeting and repeating, clarifying what was heard and agreed to, and then be prepared to conduct timely follow-up per recommendations of the U.S. Forest Service and tribal representatives or others present. All files, reports, and documentation are maintained in a neat and orderly manner within the public record. Keys and locations were noted for future reference and follow-up. You have to be a note taker when you do this job, and that's fine. Like if your associates at this location, you left, you arrived, and then it begins. And I'm a guy in the background. I was taking pictures and I was writing notes, and I was doing everything I can to make sure everybody had enough water and making sure that computers and PowerPoints smoothly. Guy in the background, but I was always paying attention to what was going on, just in case I needed to hop in and explain. This is the agency's policy, and that is the state's policy. Let's make sure there's clarity here, so there can be no misunderstanding. And I did that, and it was a lot of fun, and it was away in a very positive way. Day in the life of a tribal relations specialist, I would leave my home in Clovis, my home in Fresno, or to work in Clovis, and arrive in a very pleasant and a very friendly and happy manner. All my associates, and I would go to the office and can change my voicemail. I would my email real quick. I do kind of recent or respond to any look at any recent written correspondence in my mailbox, and you have to do that. You never know what priorities was the top three things that I always kind of look for, and I made the adjustments as necessary. It was great having a iPad because I was able to check my emails at my convenience when I was on the road 200 miles away from my office. But you got to seize the moment to return timely phone calls or deliver a quick email message. I would take the opportunity to speak with my associates and subject matter experts who are familiar with the case, the project, and then assemble my folders in a briefcase or backpack, because I carried backpacks and water bottles and equipment. If I knew I was going to go for a power hike, I got to dress for the occasion. Getting tools and equipment, and check out with my supervisor. Remember I said, say first, where am I? Am I going to come back? And something that smart planning. I always encourage people to carpool. Carpool with me. I don't like to drive alone. If I can have 3 other people with me and drive the office to the designated meeting area or project work site, make that interaction between the tribe, between the state representative and the federal representative, and me, your friendly chauffeur. We get there safely because I would be the driver. And on arrival, introductions are made. So review the goals and objectives of the meeting, go to details and particulars of the project, issue and concern, and the role of note-taker, photographer, and facilitator of the meeting. People comfortable. Do best to acknowledge roles and responsibilities right away. Half the time we walk away, and most of the time that's what we are now. I would everyone had a speak role, and they would contribute to it in a good way. I would always go around and make sure that, okay, this meeting, they're from CAL FIRE. It's special or issues, concerns, questions, and then they would say what they said. I'm writing this down. And then, okay, let's hear from the Tule River Indian Reservation, and Tule would give input, and then, okay, let's go to Bureau of Land Management. We'd hear that, and we'd to this basket weaver, and she would hear that, and talk to this business owner, and he would talk about timing and upcoming events, and the type of stuff that could change projects pretty easily, but all of us heard it. And I wrote it down. So, if you're going to be a liaison, be a good note taker, and also be a good facilitator, keeping everybody informed and included. Give respect. And upon completion of the event activity, I would sure everyone knows of the next steps, and they want and wish them a safe travels back home. Many times I would have people take pictures of my handwritten notes and know dates and the times and who's going to do what. Nowadays with iPhones or digital cameras, here's my notes. I don't trust your memory. Take a picture of my notes, and that's the way it works. And you'd be surprised how efficient that is, and it's very effective. Advancement. Oh, man, it's easy when competing for careers in federal government, or any kind of jobs, really. Much time and effort is devoted to ensure that you have the necessary information details outlining why you should be selected for advancement in a particular career field. Because this position allows the incumbent to interact with upper and mid-level managers, it'll allow the absorption of key concepts and strategies towards understanding what it takes to succeed in higher graded positions. So hang out with the supervisor, the rangers, the level management, staff officers, and everything. But what I learned from them, nobody intimidated me. I was there because I wanted to be there. And I would share this information with the GS2s and 3s, the people just starting out, and I would bring knowledge down to their level and give them the briefing that they deserve and share the knowledge. Many times managers have level meetings, and then when they go back to their workforce or their unit, they just tell bosses, but they don't tell the employees. And I felt that was odd. When I was a hotshot crew in emergency management, my job was to give a thorough briefing and make sure that everybody knew the mission that we're about to undertake. Because we were flexible, we were a good team. My job was I didn't have employees, whether it be at my restaurant or on hotshot crew or working with human resources or other individuals. My job was to have assistant manager trainees or assistant foreman trainees. I always look at employees as they're stars. My job is to invest in them and help them to know what I know. But also, once they got a kind of a feeling of it, I can't call experts, but they can walk away going, okay, now I know what you do. And I would thank them for that, be a little patient, It may not look like I'm busy or working hard, but I'm trying to 5 radio frequencies down about helicopters and emergency management folks and resources. And I tell people that, bosses are paid for a reason to do certain things, and most people understood that. And when it came to restauranting, was to make sure we had enough food for sandwiches or coffee beans for our espresso machine, and making sure that the distributor guy is showing up here at all times. But and I have to deal with employee relations problems. So I came in late, so I had all these complex concepts rolling around in my head. And those are the types of things that if you want to move the ladder, you're going to have to manage people. So a thirst for learning. So far in this career, if you do just that, I wanted to know, what did the bosses know? So I pay attention to the big picture of things that are occurring. I searched the agency, the company, and at their strategic goals and objectives, and I read what they're reading. And I ask people what their most recent conference or workshop was all about. And what's the top 3 things you learned about it? And people look at me and they go, hey, that's a good point, Dirk. And it's like, well, yeah, I know you're going to have to brief the tribal council when you get back. So practice with them. Is more education or training needed for career advancement? It's always beneficial to gain more education and training in the field of work you're interested in. I utilize several methods. I work as a supervisor, and we had an individual development plan process that identified my career goals and desires and areas I needed strengthening or improvement. And many times I would go to collaborative group meetings and listen to others conduct their presentations and the ranging of information, and I'd listen to their report outs. But I would focus on their message, and I'd listen to the types of questions being asked and asking them, and what the responses provided. I would certainly hang on and study the materials they use and get ready for future reference. And this job as a liaison, I'd take that stuff with me. I'd make copies of their lesson plans or of their briefings, and I would share that. I made 25 sets of each document when I went to the tribal forum, so make sure that everybody walked away with something. Make you have, take the time to introduce yourself, state your title, okay, and share your business card and contact information. All you want to do this job, you got to have a business card. This has always been a winning strategy in case you need their support or timely opinion or recommendation on an application. You might use them as a reference, but it'd be helpful if they remember you. And then if you really admire that person and you want to look at them as a mentor or a coach, try to do lunch or carpool with them, you know, if at a time or opportunity. But reach the speaker or the course content ahead of time. Prepare to learn. Show up in time, is what I'm trying to say. Be ready. Be interested. Sit up front. Be sitting in the back where you can't hear anything. Sit up front. Advantages and disadvantages of this job. What advantages? Action is. Good benefits, decent salary, health care, savings plan. You get agency training, leave, holidays. My plus I had was I worked with good employees, friends, and associates. A very safe and pleasant work environment and location. Travel. You travel in this job. I went to Florida, to Washington, D.C., Montana, Texas, Mexico, and everything. And you see a lot of Indian country. I'm blessed that I worked on the Sierra and Sequoia because we have beautiful country here. I work for Park Service and Bureau of Land Management, Corps of Engineers. And the best thing about it is I work with a lot of Indian people. And it's been a wonderful learning experience. You will meet interesting people, and you go to other places of work and the organizations that are in the community, and we'll hang around other people that have different disciplines. So these are incident command teams. I became a part of them, and I served in my job in a good way, and I made a positive difference in serving Indian country. You have some disadvantage, long hours. If it's an emergency, you're going to be there 16 to 18 hours a day, 6 days a week until the emergency is over with. You will travel, access to that when you're driving, getting behind a wheel. Sometimes you're going to have to be the mediator, conflict resolution, and of interpersonal conflicts and misunderstandings between individuals or groups, agencies, or organizations. I started out, okay? What do you do now to prepare? Do things like we're doing right now. Start by hanging around people that are good for you, good role models, successful leaders or business owners that share the same vision. Drive success, practice good health habits. You can volunteer. You can volunteer by contacting the person and explaining your purpose and desire to have a job like this. And that's what I did. I wanted to be a career counselor, so I hung around career counselors. I'm a human resources specialist and deal with youth. I hung around our labor relations people, and I did that on my own time. They invite me to a meeting, I would show up so I can see the interaction between the individual and others, get used to hearing their terminology and they interact. But you make extra effort to participate, so you got to plan accordingly. You enjoy the mutual benefits that others are gaining by simply being there, which means what? You see a nice country, and you want to go to a nice luncheon or dinner with them. That's a perk. Can you take a summer class? Sure, if it's related to the type of skills that are necessary to perform the job, such as computer courses, public speaking skills, consultation, meeting management, technical report writing, etc. Go over and beyond. Can you get a summer job, a minimum wage job that is similar? I say work with your local tribal community and see if they are providing an opportunity to the tribal community. So that some tribes have intern programs. The Rancheria of Mono Indians is providing summer intern type programs, and very important. And try to tie in with the local tribes and see what they're providing to help their community. Also see what the agency's diversity and outreach programs have to offer. Are you looking to college courses or certificates, programs available to them? I did. I used my human resources and business management coursework to help me develop familiarity with government program and processes that provided the basis for understanding of how they, agencies and tribes, were going to require their funding resources and infrastructure. I thirst for knowledge. I would try all their links, totally as myself in that. Before I went and talked to somebody, they asked how much I knew about their company, but I told that, hey, I would succeed, and I did as a a restaurateur. I used to go to San Francisco and LA, and I would watch how these espresso deli coffee shops would work, and I would set things up ergonomically correct, how they set their labor law posters, how they set up their supplies, and you know, what they were doing to advertise and market. Again, it's you to put in that extra effort. On some of these resources, these links, if you find a job with the U.S. Forest Service, I had some demonstration of links there about to help you, that might help you give you an edge here. I just want to demonstrate real quick. For tribal relations, if you want to know what tribal relations does, you can go to the latest, greatest news release that out of the Washington office. It mentions me in there, right here, Dirk Charlie. I recently retired. But also, that's me right there tending the fire, making sure everybody, I was working up in Yosemite with the Miwok people up there. We were working together in a good way to make sure they get their ceremonial roundhouse built up. And Forest Service, that's Ma. I got a bird now, so I look a little different. But they're all friends of mine. And, again, that's that connection that I have out in Indian country. Always will. And these are logs that Stanislaus National Forest donated to for their roundhouse. And my job is to make sure that the roundhouse, you know, I want people to know their culture and their traditions. So we have to invest in them. Those are things that I'm involved in. That's just an example of particular wedge. Is that I wanted you to pay special attention to, and that was the student resource right here, Central California Consortium. If you go to this web page, if you look at this menu, go to student resource web page. I've worked with these staff members. I always told them that make sure people know how to apply for jobs. You know, go mix up a good government resume, presentation tips, interview guidance. For college, manage procrastination. I know we all have something like that. All these colleges feature positions in forestry-related courses. The other one was the Tribal Relations webpage, and that's my good friend Pete Crowhart. I will be doing a presentation on April 7th to the Chumash elders in Santa Ynez Indian Reservation next Friday. And the job is to make sure that Forest Service gives a good bit of information, executive briefing on what's happening in Indian country and what's happening with the Forest Service. So, my friends, thank you all experts, but if you want to learn more and everything, look at some of these links, and the best part is that your local contacts and these web links, reach the company, and by all means, contact me if you have any questions or concerns. And with that, I'll turn it over to Sarah for a wrap-up. Sarah, on.
Hey, thank you, Dirk. Great presentation. So I'm opening up the call lines and I'm muting everyone. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Dirk Charlie? It looks like enough. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for teaching us, Dirk. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you. Everybody have a good time, and be safe, and have a pleasant day.
Thank you.
Bye.